Yeah, that's right, kids. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Saying good morning to you on this beautiful Bay Area morning here in the Bay. Monday, beautiful blue skies. I'm looking right out my window right now. I'm looking at the left-hand side of my screen. I see Creative Tony's beautiful face. Speaking of beautiful, you can't talk beauty, Bay Area beauty, without talking about this kid. Look at this smile. Look at the gleam. Look at the shine on the head. Creative Tony, oh, you're going like very stylish today with the hoodie and the matching tee. I compliment your fashion sense, my man.
Well, it's winter time. We are lucky that it is so freaking gorgeous here. Yesterday,
unbelievable day. How about this day we're getting right now?
It's incredible. And yesterday, we had San Carlos Little League tryouts all day. I was on the field for like 8 hours, but gorgeous, sunshiny day. And we're like, how lucky are we right now to be doing this? Because you think about the East Coast, they're indoors. They're not doing Little League tryouts out on the field all day.
Those poor bastards. No, they're digging their cars out. They're chipping ice off the windshield. That's right. By the time you get
the chipping of the window is like my least favorite thing to do.
Oh, you could lose a finger just trying to clean your windshield. You could lose a digit. No, it's just, I maintain this theory that's one of the reasons why everybody on the East Coast is so pissed off and they get in fist fights all the time, because by the time they get in their car to make the hour-long commute to their job, they're in a bad mood because they've had to fight and scratch their way out of their driveway. But no, Creative Tony, while we're talking about the weather conditions, what a great weekend of football. And I want to kind of start with what's in front of us tonight. I want to talk about all the games that were just played. Say a little bit about what we got coming up on the show this week. And thanks again, boy, the support you guys have been showing us as I activate my comments section here. Where are you guys? There you are. I just want to say that we really appreciate having you guys with us, and it means a lot. And we're going to continue going forward this week with some special guests, some new features. And we'll get into all of that. Now, Creative Tony, we're talking about
real quick. Can I do some business real quick? I just want to attend to some business. I just want to remind people that if you just want the audio version, wherever you listen, Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart, wherever you listen, we're available. The audio versions of these are available. Just search Paulie Max Podcast. They're available. Rate the podcast, leave a comment, a review. That all helps us out because we're building it from the ground floor, and we want you all to be with us. And then also on our YouTube channel, just search Polymax Particles on YouTube, and everything we do is posted there, as well as we cut some of this stuff into shorts. And we're also on Instagram at Polly's Pod on Instagram, on Blue Sky, here on Twitter also. At Polly's Pod. Just a lot of business keeping, housekeeping, Paulie, as they say.
As soon as you said everything we do, we post on YouTube, I was thinking about Bryan Adams. Everything we do it for you. By the way, I'll defend that ballad if I have to. I'll rush to the defense of the guy I like to call the Canadian Bruce Springsteen. I've seen him twice live, bro. I've seen Bryan Adams twice live. And by the way, both gigs were fantastic nights out. There were great gigs of music. Yeah.
One of the greatest slow dances of my grammar school youth was to the song "Heaven" by Bryan Adams.
Oh, so dude, I'm finding it hard to believe we're in heaven, Tony.
If you're like a ballad singer songwriter, are you like a balladeer? Like
you're 100% a balladeer. Let me tell you what. Let me give you a few more rock and roll credentials for Bryan Adams, and we got to get out of here because I don't want to get too distracted early. We got a lot of football to talk about. Totally. One final, because I don't want you to miscategorize Bryan Adams as simply a guy who writes ballads. Here's Exhibit B. Here's the flip side of the Bryan Adams ballad coin. Dude, Bryan Adams, the Canadian Springsteen himself, he co-wrote with Gene Simmons one of the heaviest Kiss songs ever written called War Machine. Check out I'm not kidding. Check out look at the Stone Temple Pilots covered it, by the way. Stone Temple Pilots covered War Machine. Nice. And again, it's one of the heaviest Kiss tracks ever written by Gene Simmons and Bryan Adams. That's my guy.
That's
Bryan
Adams. Outrageous.
No, don't tell me.
Run to You is a pretty good tune.
Run to You, dude, pretty good tune. Run to You rules. And so does Cuts Like a Knife, bro. Cuts Like a Knife all day. All day.
If you want to talk, and again, we're going to get to Wild Card Weekend here in a second, but if you want to talk about a great use of the na-na-nas in a song.
Yeah. No, they're in Cups Like a Knife. Na 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 na. No question. All right, now, Creative Tony, first thing I want to talk about is, I'm mentioning the beautiful weather in the Bay, and I don't want people to think I'm absent-minded or I'm not sensitive to what's going on to the south of us in the Los Angeles area. It's my heart goes out to you guys. There's so many people have lost everything, and it's trying to pick up the pieces and go from there. It's not easy for anybody, and you see these reports about Hollywood stars losing their hills, and believe me, this is the kind of event, this kind of natural disaster. We're all the same. I mean, it don't matter if you're rich or poor, whatever. When you lose everything, you lose everything. And my heart goes out to him. Now, Tony, there is a kind of a sports kind of angle to this too. Meanwhile, this is the first time in NFL history that a playoff game has had to relocate due to a natural disaster. It's never happened before. So they're literally, and I think this is pretty cool. I was watching SportsCenter this morning, Creative Tony, and I saw Schefter talking about the Rams, the organization, the team has set up buses, not only for the staff and all the people that work in the building, in the front office, but for the fans. So as we speak, just after 11 a.m. on this Monday morning, they are busing Rams fans from Los Angeles to Arizona so they can all see the game tonight. Because that's got to be tough for the Rams, too. You're trying to sort out your personal life and these fires, but meanwhile, you got the biggest game of the year. And I'm just glad some Rams fans will be in the building. I mean, I think everyone's going to have a little bit of a soft spot for the Rams tonight, man.
Oh, no question, man. And also they're showing the Rams actually did like a thank you to the Arizona Cardinals on Twitter, on social media.
Nice.
And they did like a time-lapse video of them rolling out the Rams turf in the Arizona Cardinals stadium, where obviously the Cardinals turf would be. And it says, you just want to thank the Arizona Cardinals for having us, you know? And that's, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all, like you said, we're all in this together, right? And football is a wonderful, lovely distraction from the crud. And it doesn't get any worse than what's going on in LA, so down south. So well put, well said, P. And speaking of football, actually, I also want to give a shout out to Naomi in the comment section. She said Bryan Adams' "Run to You" is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So here, I'll show Naomi's. Thank you, Naomi. Appreciate that.
Nice. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yes, "Run to You" is pretty awesome. I agree. I
By the way,
put it in the top five.
By the way, great last name on Naomi, too. Shout out Naomi Catalina. What a great name, Catalina.
You ever been to Catalina?
I haven't. I want to go to Catalina. I've always wanted. It sounds so exotic and mysterious. Have you been to Catalina?
I have not. It's
See?
right there, too.
Proving the point again. I know. I got Catalina envy, bro. I got to find my way to Catalina. So, by the way, we should write a song called Catalina. Sounds like a good word I might want to sing in the chorus of some song. Creative Tony, how do you feel about just the Monday night playoff format in general? Like, you got Saturday games. It's a football feast, man. I mean, it started Thursday and Friday with the college games, and those are great. Then you're going all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and now the bonus game on Monday. Are you down, or are you more of a traditionalist? Do you want your games during the day?
As a football junkie, I'm down, but
I'm down too. I know.
I had to remind myself, though, oh, yeah, that game's tomorrow night, because I just was expecting it to be 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday, right? Not 2 on Saturday and three games on Sunday. So,
right.
I mean, I'll be locked in. I mean, NFL has got the world by the you-know-whats. I mean, we're
slaves.
NFL is king. They're just, they're the king.
Maybe the first new song parody we do on Polymax Particles, because people are asking for new songs, and we'll get you there. We're going to get there. But maybe the first thing I could do is a Slave by Prince, but we'll do it like slave to the NFL. I'm a slave.
Nice.
I can write it on my face, just like Prince.
I was thinking if we do with Tom Petty's "It's Good to Be King," right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean, really, seriously, what other sport could do like as many games as they did during the holidays and have like just monster ratings?
No, dude, if the NFL sent out like a nationwide email on Monday morning and said, "Hey, football fans, you're fans of the NFL, I want all you guys to travel up to the top of Mount Tam and stand on the ledge, and at the count of 3, we're all going to jump." I think you'd probably have 50,000 people up there ready to jump, man. You're right. Like, the NFL's got us hypnotized. We're under their spell, and I'm guilty too. I'll be right there tonight, bro. I'll be right there. Now,
hey, speaking of jumping real quick, Paulie, I got to give an update on Beast Games real quick. The Beast Games show, Mr. Beast. We watched the last episode last night, and they got Navy SEALs jumping out of helicopters onto this private island. That's for that somebody wins the island, a $1.8 million island on the Beast Games. I can't recommend this show enough. I know you didn't ask for any recommendations.
No, I didn't. I really didn't. I'm not interested at all. Yeah,
but I'm giving it to you.
Well,
I'm giving it to you, man.
The only beast I'm interested in is probably going to be Rolling Stones' "Beast of Burden," because that's a great track with a great groove. Check out the groove in "Beast of Burden," dude. It's so loose. It's like it wobbles. I love the groove in "Beast of Burden." Creative Tony, I want your thoughts and impressions on the games we watched all weekend. I want to start with that Charger game because the Chargers bit me. I took them in the hot and sour picks, and they didn't deliver for me. Now, Justin Herbert, I was propping him up on Friday. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. Look at him. He's so talented. And he is. He's great. He's going to have a great career. But the Texans tied him in knots, man. I mean, Herbert threw 4 picks. This is
Mhm.
after he threw 4 picks in one game. Tony, that's after going the entire season where he threw 3 interceptions, only 3. So he throws more than he did the entire season. I mean, the Texans just really they were in his face all day, and they were knocking him down all day. And I credit the Houston Texans. They had a great game plan. And again, Henry To'oTo'o right there at linebacker just going off on fools. And now they're going to be traveling to Arrowhead. They're taking on the Chiefs next week. That should be an interesting game.
That's the D'Amico Ryans ball, though, right? I mean, they just came after them from the get-go. Herbert 14 of 32, dude. I mean, that's such an like a unorthodox day for him. He struggled, and man, I was happy for I like D'Amico. D'Amico's got like almost like a Mike Tomlin stare. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
They show him on the sidelines, and he is just. I feel like I would love to play for D'Amico someday. Like I would love to be in the locker room with him. He's be a lot of fun to play for.
Yeah.
I really like CJ Stroud and Nico Collins. They're really fun to watch. I was happy for them. Local kid Joe Mixon out in the East Bay. He's from the East Bay, so happy for Joe Mixon too. I expected more from Herbert though. I expected more from the Chargers.
Yeah. I did too, man. And the Chargers had such a great defense all year too. They really couldn't stop Houston, and they couldn't do anything offensively. So that whole game disappointed me. I got to take my lumps on the hot and sour picks because that was an L. I did get a win though as well to balance that out. In fact, why don't we shift over to that? Let's talk about the Denver Bills game a little bit. It was more or less what I thought, Tony. I mean, it's just too big of a task for a rookie quarterback to go into Buffalo. And I think I look at Buffalo kind of like this is their shot. You know, they've been close in the past, but they've had to contend with like really good Cincinnati Bengal teams with Burrow and the Chiefs, obviously. But, you know, right now you got no Burrow in the playoffs. I think this Chiefs team is good, but not great, even though their record, they only got the 1 loss. But I mean, they barely won games week after week after week. They were just squeaking by games with the help of the NFL officials. Thank you, refs. You guys are always helping the Chiefs usher to a W in the win column. But I think that if the Bills are ever going to get to the Super Bowl during this Mahomes era, I think this is the year. I really do. So I wasn't that surprised. I
hate how you say the Mahomes era, by the way. I just hate that. I know you have to.
Yeah.
But I hate it. And also, Pete, first of all, I want to give a shout out right here to not Christian. Oh, hey, what's up, Christian? What's up?
That's Rex. There's Rex.
My Rhino. Look at this. He is so right. Alshire was a beast for sure. And it's so great to see him succeeding and playing in the postseason. Again, my Niner, mild depression. Like it's almost like, you know, I don't know what I do to treat it. Except I just jump on bandwagons, right? I'm on, you know, I'm on the Lions bandwagon, but I didn't even get to see Lions ball over the weekend. And I gotta say, Paulie, yes, it's the Bills' time, but I feel like it could be the Lions' time. I feel like it could be the Ravens' time. The Ravens look good. I mean, how are you going to stop the Ravens, dude?
No. Let's go through these one by one. No, you're right. The Ravens are a force to be reckoned with, and they're right there in the mix. And, you know, the Steelers really kind of stumbled and bumbled into the playoffs. They had a really poor back end to their season.
Is it time for Wilson to maybe, I don't know, does Russell Wilson still have it, do you think? Or is it time for him to maybe hang up the spikes?
I think he's capable. I think Russell Wilson's still capable as an NFL quarterback. I mean, he had a pretty good year, actually, in Pittsburgh.
I just feel like with all the over-analysis of Brock Purdy, right? Everybody, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like watching some of these quarterbacks over the weekend, it's like, okay, can we appreciate Brock Purdy, please?
Yeah, right.
I mean, Jordan Love didn't look good. Jordan Love threw 3 picks.
Jordan Love didn't look good at all. No.
I mean, Justin Herbert 4 picks. Like I'm just saying, you know, and also we can go from game to game if you want, Pete. Because the Ravens, that 2-headed monster of Lamar and Derrick Henry, I don't know if there is a defense that can stop it. I really don't know if there is.
You know, it's funny. The other night I did, there was last week, I went on Larry Krueger's show. Shout out Larry Krueger. By the way, happy birthday, Larry Krueger. Word on the street is my man, Larry Krueger, the host of the Krug Show, celebrated a birthday yesterday. And I saw the message his kid put up, Kevin Krueger, on Twitter. He said, he goes, happy birthday to the GOAT. And he had a picture of him with his old man. And I'm like, you know what? Krueger is the blanking GOAT. He is the effing GOAT. So Krueger, happy birthday. But Tony, last week I was on Krueger's show.
Yes.
And we started talking about some Niners that could be playing elsewhere next year. Krueger mentioned Deebo Samuel would be a great fit. Just personality wise and the kind of guy he is, very physical, breaking tackles, said he'd be a great fit with the Ravens. And I can already see Deebo Samuel in a Ravens uniform. Like I can envision that in my mind. I really can.
That's a great call. Swiss Army knives.
And they'd love him down there. They'd love him down there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because when they get Lamar going, right, with Derrick Henry going, and then they run that option, like the read option, and then you have to play for if Henry gets the ball, and if Lamar gets the ball, he's by you in 3 strides. I just don't get it. The Ravens ran the ball 50 times yesterday. 50 times, dude. That's crazy.
Well, that's what it's all about. I still listen. That's the recipe for, championship football. You have to be able to run the ball effectively, and you have to play good defense and mess with the quarterback. And we saw all of those elements at play in all the win. Like, for example, we talked about Herbert. He was getting his ass knocked to the ground almost every time he dropped back to throw. And the only time the Chiefs have lost a Super Bowl, when the Bucs beat him, with Tom Brady a couple of years ago, was because the Buccaneer pass rush had Mahomes on the ground snap after snap after snap. So there's something to be said for pressure in the quarterback. And like you just said with the Ravens, Tony, that recipe of running the foot, dude, I love running the football.
Yeah, me too.
It's not as sexy, and you're not going to get as many highlight clips and all that. But how about Josh? Did you see Josh Jacobs' touchdown last night? Speaking of running the football.
I did. Well, yes, I did.
Dragging Eagles down the field. That was a badass run. And like that to me is old school Smash Mouth at its best.
Hey, Paulie, can we pause in the wild card weekend analysis and just enjoy the comment section for a second? Because, man, people are on fire right now.
Okay, good. I haven't even really... Yeah,
you've got your Spicoli shirt on, right? You might want to just kind of move your mic.
No, this is Spicoli, Spicoli 24. Relax, I can fix it. Yeah.
So let's give Rags. That's Rags out there, right? Look at what Rags says, right?
That's my man. Yeah.
Right? Effing love the Spicoli 24 shirt, Paulie. Then we've got It's X. My brother works on cars. I can fix. That's a deep Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Well, no, look, and that's the tagline on my shirt. Relax.
Yes.
I can fix it. Yeah. An ultimate set of tools. Yeah.
The ultimate set of. You can't fix this car, Spicoli.
That's what I'm saying. Don't sleep on Charles Jefferson's little brother. That kid's 2 tickets for Earth, Wind, and Fire and little brother. Shout out to Moan. But no, that kid's got a lot of personality. Jefferson's little brother in Fast.
No question. Question. That's when they're in there. When they're in the arcade and Spicoli and the little brother hook up, and that's when Charles Jefferson, who is Forrest Whitaker as a young buck, he says, hey, he goes up to Mike Damone and he wants to get those Earth, Wind, and Fire tickets. It's the best, man.
I like when they're driving in the car and they're burning a J, and the kid goes, "You're gonna scratch my brotother's car." And by the way,
I'm not.
Totally, with the ski hat on in the middle of winter, in the middle of summertime. No, I'm not. But anyway,
I also want to give love to NorCal Refrigeration and HVAC. Do you see the comment right there, Paulie?
I do.
Hans Lufa has lost faith in Herbert. Now, NorCal Refrigeration and HVAC. That's fantastic because yes, I think Hans Lufa has lost faith. And for those that don't know.
Yeah,
Hans Lufa is the name we came up with for the person who developed and invented the loofah.
In our minds, it sounds good to me. Yes, in our
Paulie
minds.
said he thinks it sounds German, and that he hopes the lead singer from the Scorpions, Klaus Meine, is hanging out. Yeah, is hanging out with Hans Lufa. So.
And he can bring his the Shanker brothers along too, Rudolph and Michael Shanker. Bring the guitar players as well. We're all going to hang out. Well, this is why I love hanging out with Creative Tony. That was a Creative Tony invention, live on the spot. He came up with Hans Lufa as the inventor of the loofah shower accessory. So yeah, we're getting all kinds of material on the show, not just football. Yes. We talk loofahs, we talk Bryan Adams and Fast Times. Whatever comes across our plate is
everything's on the table.
So let's get into that Philly game though for a second, because that's
okay. But real quick before we go to Philly, are you as scared of the Ravens as I am? I mean, well, not scared, hopeful that if the Ravens have to play the Chiefs, that they can take down the Chiefs, because I think they can.
Here's another question. I'll kind of stack on top of that one. Which team in the AFC do you think right now stands a better shot to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, which is ultimately what I'm hoping for more than anything else? Even though I want the Lions to win the Super Bowl, that's I would really love to see that happen for a lot of different reasons. But even more than that, I want the Chiefs to lose. I want effing Chiefs to lose so bad because I don't want them to be the first team in NFL history to three-peat because then they're going to be propped up as all like forever as, oh, this is the greatest team of all time. I'm telling you right now, there's probably about 40 to 45 different Super Bowl teams that could beat this year's Kansas City Chiefs team with respect to what they've done. They've had a nice run, but this team they're definitely beatable. So that's my biggest hope, Tony. I want the Chiefs to lose. I'm very petty that way.
Hey, dude, I mean, the Texans could do something in
They give them a hard time. They can give them a hard time. Yeah.
I just checked. The Chiefs are a 7.5 point favorites at home. I might think about taking the or it just went up to 8 points. It just went up to 8 points. I might take the Texans next week in the hot and sour picks.
Well, next week, you mean this week? We'll do that on Friday. We'll give you the hot and sour
picks.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to take the Texans, take them. But, Tony, who do you think has the best chance to beat them in the AFC? The Bills or the Ravens? Like, who do you think has a legitimate shot?
Right now, I think the Ravens because I think the Ravens can't be stopped offensively.
Chiefs have a pretty good defense. They do have a pretty good D. I got to give them credit where it's due. And Kansas City Chiefs had a good year defensively, so that would be an interesting matchup. Yeah.
Yes. And the Bills are very hard to stop. And if I had to choose between the two, Lamar, man, he is just playing lights out right now. And so is Josh Allen, though. That's what's crazy about this postseason. And it bums me out that the Niners aren't in it, right? But if there's a postseason where I can just kind of like rest easy and not get all stressed out like I normally would in a Niners preseason or postseason.
Yeah, right.
I can really enjoy all these matchups, man, because I mean, dude, Ravens at Buffalo on this coming weekend. That's an amazing matchup.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a contest.
That's a great game. That's a great game right there. I actually also, I know you like your Ravens and I like them too. I think that the Bills do have a legitimate shot. And I feel like for Lamar right now, Tony, it reminds me of 1994, the way people were talking about Steve Young, the way that they talk about Lamar right now. Because here's a guy who's an incredibly talented quarterback. He's a perennial playoff presence, but he's never been able to climb the mountain all the way up. And he's won his MVPs, just like Steve Young. And they used to say that about Steve. Well, Steve is great. He's an MVP quarterback, and he gets all these great stats. He's a playoff caliber quarterback, but he can't win the big game. And then finally in 94, Steve Young got his ring. And I kind of feel like that's a similar situation to what we're watching with Lamar right there. Like he's poised to do that, but he does need to do that. Like he needs to check that box or at least take his team to a Super Bowl. That would be an accomplishment. So I want to talk also a little bit about just like what I think was some pretty poor quarterback play. You mentioned Jordan Love having a rough day, and he did. Yeah. Dude, Herbert was awful with his 4 interceptions. And then the nightcap last night, dude, if Baker Mayfield's not out here fumbling snaps all over the field, like I think the Bucs probably would have won that game. They had some miscues. I don't know if you saw the whole game, but there was some miscues.
I did. I watched the whole game. What are you doing not taking the points on the road with a rookie quarterback, Commanders? They were down 17-13. They go for it on 4th down.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what? You take the points, make it a kickoff, make it a field goal game. I was stunned. And then they went for it again. And they got the touchdown that the next time they were in the red zone. But I was like, it could have been 17-16, whole different process to the game, right?
Yeah.
So I was just like, man, you got a rookie quarterback. You're on the road. That's like worse. That's like worse than Gamble Campbell. And it didn't work out for them. And so I was like, that's a huge momentum shift. And then the fumble, dude. You
talk about the Baker Mayfield fumble?
Yes.
It was so awkward looking. Like it was just terrible. Now there was a couple of mishaps. There was one where they tried to run the end around where they had the receiver in motion and they just kind of collided. And the ball, is that the play you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm talking about the play where they were. Yes. Where Collinsworth was wondering whether or not he was trying to fake it to him or actually hand it off to him.
Right.
And we'll never know, obviously. But I got to ask you something, Paulie.
Yeah. I think I know where you're going. Go ahead.
No. Are you that bummed that Baker Mayfield lost? Like I'm not.
I'm in the minority. I actually like Baker Mayfield.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Okay. I like him, and I'll tell you why. In fact, I would think he would be a guy that you would like because you guys have you got like a similar build. You're like the same kind. No, seriously. Like
I love that you think I'm built like Baker Mayfield. I'll take it all day.
Well, no, you know what I mean. I'm saying like maybe not jacked like Baker Mayfield, but you guys are like the same height and stuff. And you're a scrapper. He's a scrapper. You know, and he'll do crazy shit out there. Hey, that's my first S-bomb. Look at that. It just came out. Hey, we should have some kind of like alarm that goes off. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, some kind of like siren. like air raid sirens or something like that. But that was my first curse on the air. I feel like I'm a little naughty boy. But no, he will do crazy stuff like last.
I just gave you a laugh track, Paulie. There you go. For your
Who are these people? You know what? I'm taking it. I'll take it. The first ever laugh track. I'll take that. You know, stop. You
Sorry,
stop.
dude.
You gotta stop. Tony's cracking himself up over there.
Sorry.
What I was gonna say is that Baker will do. Here's why I like him. He competes his ass off. He's undersized, and he will do crazy stuff like tuck it in and run right into linebackers. He did that last night a couple times, actually. So I like that crazy style he plays. He's a scrapper. But anyway, I think you know what though, dude? My favorite part of that game, might have been the national anthem. Dude, Tony, I'm sitting there minding my own business, and I'm getting a snack, and I'm getting ready. I'm like, oh, cool. We got night football. This is going to be fun. And, you know, they got Chris Sims. He's throwing it to the live coverage. And he goes, all right, let's go down to Tampa Bay for our national anthem. Who do they bring? I got him standing right there in front of me. Arguably my favorite singer of all time, Robin Zander from Cheap Trick, sang the national anthem last night down in Tampa. And now they're a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band, but they're kind of like the Ramones. Like, they're not a mainstream. They're not selling out stadiums. I mean, you go see the Cheap Trick, you're going to see them at the Fillmore or the Great American or the Warfield. They're like a theater club band, and I love that. And Robin Zander he's a freakishly talented singer. And for him to get on that kind of national stage, dude, he had the Buccaneers jersey on. Did you see him, Tony, with his hand on his heart, getting all patriotic? Yeah.
Let's go. Let's watch a piece real quick.
Nice.
Of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band Cheap Trick.
Hell yeah. Love my guy. Let's go, Xander.
Oh, say, can you see?
Yeah.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed.
Oh, man.
The twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, war bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Yeah. T, thank you. Oh, that was great for my head, dude. Thanks for playing that. I was not expecting that, but that was a nice touch. And
wasn't that great?
That's kind of what we're going to be doing on the show. We're going to try to capitalize on the visual, element of the show now. It's not just a radio show. There's a lot to look at. And Tony, well done. And I don't know if you were as surprised as I was. I mean, you don't see Robin Zander singing the national anthem at an NFL playoff game every day.
I had to do like a triple take. I was walking past the TV and I go, wait a second. Is that Xander? Is that Xander doing the anthem?
Totally.
I was so, it was like when I used to see Bonds walking up to the plate. I stopped in my tracks and I stopped what I was doing and I watched it. And you know what I loved about it, Paulie, is that it wasn't long and drawn out.
Oh, no.
It wasn't overly over dramatic.
No.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was the way I always want it to be.
Well,
not some super long. I don't want all these different changes, right?
I know.
Just sing the song. And you turned me on to Cheap Trick years and years ago.
Yeah.
And you took me to that show at the Great American Music Hall that I will never, ever, ever forget. And he walked on stage in a purple velvet suit.
Like a pimp. And he looked cool as hell. Yeah.
It was and then they just tore the cover off the roof off the place. And it was one of the greatest live shows I've ever seen.
Nice, Tony. Nice.
I always talk about that song, Need Your Love. If I can recommend a tune for people to go check out live from Cheap Trick, for me, is a song called Need Your Love.
Yeah.
And remember, that, I mean, they're Chicago, right? Or Chicago suburbs.
So yeah, they're Chicago, right? They're just outside Chicago, but Robin Zander apparently has been living in Florida now for like 20 years or something. He likes it down there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I know that Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins is a huge Robin Zander fan.
Oh,
huge.
so are the Pearl Jam guys.
Yep.
So Kurt Cobain was they're kind of like the grandfathers of that Seattle scene. Like all those bands like Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots, Nirvana, all of those bands were big Cheap Trick fans. So anyway, I was so happy to see them last night. And yeah, dude, shout out to you. Great call on the Purple Velvet, dude. You have to be confident and cool as hell to walk on stage in a matching a Purple Velvet suit and pull up. And he did. And
also, I want to give a props to our comment line, Mark Crawford. Great call, acapella.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And just by himself.
No, and like you said, Tony, these days I think a lot of artists get that opportunity and then they overdo it. Like it doesn't need to be overstated. You don't need to rewrite the melody. Like the first line of the song can sometimes take like a minute and a half. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
right.
Say, can you see? You know what I mean? It's like, bro, let's get to the game already. I don't want to do like a 7-minute version of the anthem. And Xander was nice and understated. Yeah.
You know how I want Sturgill Simpson to do a national anthem one of these days? By the way, did you see the footage of Sturgill Simpson from Mexico with
see what happens? No, this is where we go now. We're off the tracks. I saw it. No, I loved it. I saw it and I loved it. And I got to shout out Dub City on the comments line because Tony, maybe my favorite comment so far. Shout out Bunny Carlos on drums. That's now Dub City. You and me need to hang out now. You come in with a reference like that. At some point, you and I are gonna have to sit down and have a beer because I'm a Bunny Carlos head. So,
and by the way, speaking of the comment lines, man, the comments keep firing based on your T-shirt. They're all inspired by your Spicoli 24 T-shirt.
Oh well, you know, this was a Christmas gift I got from my buddy, one of my other Jersey buddies, Eugene. He sent me this shirt, Spicoli 24, just in time for the election. Unfortunately, Spicoli didn't win, but maybe next time we'll get him in the office. Yeah. And by the way, if Spicoli were president, would his vice president be Forrest Whitaker or Ratner or Damone?
I think it would be Damone. I think they would be like a kumbaya, and it would be Damone. Dude, and G-Man music I have up on the screen here. This is some great iced tea. Yes, it was some great iced tea.
How about this?
And by the way, trivia for that movie: he never drinks the iced tea.
No,
he never drinks the iced tea. He just says that it's great.
Well, he knows he's moments away from shaking the purple sock. Like he knows what's about to happen. He's a little nervous. And how about this for a scenario? How about Vice President Mike Damone standing up in front of the United Nations, like delivering his 5-point plan to Uganda and stuff like that. And
when it comes to making out.
Yeah, totally. It's the 5-point plan. Yeah.
And also, got to give Rags some love here on the screen, too, because Robin Zander is mentioned by Mike Damone in Fast Times when he says, if you've forgotten forget the magnetism of Robin Zander or the charisma of Rick Nielsen.
Dude, the charisma.
And then he goes into the Dream Police.
Well, he goes into a very up-tempo version of the Dream Police. Actually, you know what, Tony? It's a medley. It's a medley. Because there it is. I mean, he goes,
all right.
He goes, because the girl he's trying to sell the tickets to, she's a potential customer, but she's like, Cheap Trick. She goes like, that's kid stuff. And then that's where Damone has to put his foot down. He goes, kid stuff?
Right.
What about the tunes? Your mama's all right. The Dream Police. It's all about the
And he starts smacking his leg to
like a million miles an hour.
It's the best. So I definitely drove that diversion. We were talking Wild Card Weekend, but it was
a good diversion. I gotta say, it was good.
Right. I mean, just because our commenters are they're so hip and on point that we gotta bring them into the mix as often as possible.
No question. We do appreciate that. Now, a couple other just quick comments and loose ends just for everybody's head out there. We're working on a special guest for tomorrow.
Oh, it's confirmed. It's confirmed. I can tell you right now, Paulie, it's confirmed. Rod Brooks, our dear friend and colleague for, over 20 years. Yeah. Rod Brooks is going to be joining us tomorrow, I believe, at 11 a.m. I'm going to double check that with him, but I leave at 11 a.m. tomorrow or a little after 11. He and I have been texting, and Rod, for a little background, Rod is one of the greatest people like I've ever met in my life, and he's one of the nicest, kindest, but also just badasses I've ever met in my life. And literally, I met him the day he arrived here from Houston.
Yeah.
Driving the U-Haul out to start at in Bay Area radio.
Shout out to the early watering hole. We all used to hang out at the boathouse out there on the lake by his apartment. Brooksy was living out there. What was that called? It's the name of that neighborhood out there by the zoo and stuff where he had that.
Well, it's Lake Merced, so it's
Lake
Merced.
Lake Merced. Yes, Lake Merced. Yeah.
But Brooksy, man, one of the all-time greats. And I remember he said when he drove out here, he goes, "Hey, man, I could be turning around in 6 months and driving back to Houston." And he's been out here. That was the summer of August of '97.
Yeah.
And look at it now. Here we are now. And now he's running a show with Dante Whitner and Carlos Ramirez on NBC Sports Bay Area, Niners pre and post. I couldn't be happier for him. Rod tomorrow will be joining us. We'll be talking wild card weekend, and also the upcoming weekend of football. And Rod, is also a fan of diversions. And
he's a big music fan. He's a drummer. He's a big he's a musicologist, I would say, because he's kind of like us. He'll talk about everything from like Public Enemy to Motorhead, and everything in between. And he loves going out to see shows. Something else I want to say about Rod Brooks real quick too. And thank you for booking him. I look forward to talking to Rod. I second everything you said. He's one of the great guys in the Bay Area broadcasting scene. But Brooksy also, now Rod did radio for a long, long time, and he could easily pick up and do another radio show anytime he wants. But I would say that Rod is one of those guys to me that is just a natural on TV. You can just tell by the way, as soon as he's on TV, he looks comfortable. His suits are super cool, and he's just at ease. And to me, he's kind of the anchor of that show. I mean, Dante Whitner, bro, that's another guy I want to get on this show. I want to do a couple of hours with Dante Whitner, and I'm going to request that he wears his life vest, the life jacket that he wore one time when he was doing the pregame. It was unbelievable. He was wearing a life jacket, bro.
I couldn't be a bigger Dante fan. When he was a player, I was a big fan. But then having worked with him and met him and worked with him over the years, I couldn't be a bigger fan. And the duo of Rod and Dante is really, really seamless and almost poetic, man. And I'll never forget. I think you and Murph were both out during the holidays, and they asked me to fill in as one of the hosts, and they said, "Oh, you're going to be filling in with Dante Whitner."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, great, Dante and I." It was like one of those dead days in December, in between Christmas and New Year's, right?
Well, yeah.
Dante comes in. Dude, in designer pajamas.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. No, he's not kidding around.
And then remember we had him on the podcast, and he told us that he made special trips somewhere. Overseas to do
Morocco.
It was Morocco.
Guy goes to Morocco to get fabrics. No, he's not kidding around. He comes back with suitcases full of fabric. Dante, when it comes to fashion, bro, he's not playing games. And meanwhile, you look at his highlight reel. Don't forget, he was a violent hitter. Dante Whitner, you can't hit people the way he was hitting people when they were playing 10 years ago. And it was only 10 years ago, but the game has changed so much. Remember that hit in the Saints playoff game? He knocked that running back out of the game. In the Alex Smith bootleg game, I forget who the running back was, but it was their lead guy. And that was when Sean Payton had that bounty out. They were trying to knock Frank Gore out of the game. But Dante laid some serious lumber early in that game.
Oh, I remember, Paulie. I just looked it up, so I cheated, but it was Pierre Thomas. Pierre Thomas was the running back.
Very good. Good pull.
He blasted him.
Totally blasted him. So I look forward to talking to Brooksy. We got other features coming up that we'll introduce, as the shows unfold and as the weeks unfold. One more thing about tonight's game, and then I want to unfurl an installment of Tony's top 3 today. Because, dude, I got to tell you, so far, this little kind of limited sample size that we've only done a few shows, but I think maybe the most popular thing we've done so far was Tony's top 3 and the Hans Lufa incident. I'll call it the Hans Lufa incident. That, people really connected with that for some reason. So I do want to get to today's Tony's top 3 in just a second. But one more thing on tonight's game, Tony, real quick. Do you think that Minnesota is in an unenviable spot in that, if they win, you're ruining the whole hope of Los Angeles? Los Angeles right now has been so decimated. They need something positive to hang on to. It's almost like, dude, when the awful 9/11 attacks happened and the Yankees were in the World Series and the D-backs beat them. And it was even I was rooting for the Yankees that year, just on behalf of New York. It was God, they've been through so much. so many lives have been destroyed and ruined. I mean, the only bright spot might be a Yankee World Series win, and they couldn't deliver. So do you feel like the Vikings have some of that tonight? It's not their fault, but they're coming out here to win a game, you know.
The Rams definitely have the sentimental edge, right? I mean, but I feel like Darnold, the Vikings are just the better team in my opinion. But yes, there's definitely a sentimental edge, and I feel like if the Rams were to win, they would be like, people would jump on their bandwagon big time, right? And so if the Rams were to win, I wouldn't be upset. I really wouldn't, because
not right now. Nor would I.
Well, also just repping the NFC West, and I don't have hatred to the Rams the same like I have towards the Dodgers. It's bizarre. I can't explain it. I dislike the Rams, yes, but I don't dislike the Rams. I don't know, the way I dislike the Dodgers. They're not equal to me, even though they're both SoCal teams. And I've always liked Stafford. And I like
Stafford.
Kyron Williams kid, and and
Puka.
the receivers too, Puka and yeah, I mean Puka, coming out of BYU. Come on, man, he's been incredible, and he's got the flowing locks coming out of the helmet, man. I'm a fan of the guys that let the hair fly, you know.
What about Cooper Kupp? Is he a legit Grateful Dead fan, or is he posing? Because there's been a lot of debate that he'll put stuff online, or he's wearing like a Grateful Dead tie-dye. And
the way I look at it, it's all a compliment. Even if he's posing, he thinks that it must be cool to be a deadhead. So he's like, oh, I'm going to choose to be a poser and make people think I'm a deadhead. Either way, I'm like, okay, all right, Cooper. At least you know about the scene. But I'm guessing he's legitimate.
Well, we're tapping into a bigger conversation here. Here comes another distraction, because I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was when the Warriors and the Celtics were in the finals. I saw a photo of the Warriors. I think were like walking off their private plane in Boston, and the photo that I saw, it was Steph Curry, and then right behind Steph was Aisha, his wife, and Aisha Curry I'm not kidding, she was wearing an Aerosmith Draw the Line shirt.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, and that's a great record from the 70s. I mean, Draw the Line, that's like my kind of Aerosmith, man.
Yes.
And I saw that picture, and I'm like, dude, Aisha with the Draw the Line shirt, dude, she's so cool. I can't believe she likes Aerosmith. And then because I was doing this on the air, and then Murph's like, dude, there's no way she's ever even heard the album. She's just wearing that as like an accessory, because people do that now. You'll see people wear Ramones shirts, they wear CBGB's shirts, because it's like or the Misfits. You see a lot of Misfits stuff out there with the skull logo.
Yeah.
But the question is, should you be doing that if you have no knowledge of the band whatsoever, and now you're repping a band you know nothing about? How do you feel about that? Do you look the other way? Do you encourage it? Do you frown upon it?
Well, I don't do it personally.
That's not my practice. No,
I'm not a big fan of it either. But I have a similar story, but it ended up like the opposite happened, Paulie, where Tom Tolbert in 2003. Remember when Kiss and Aerosmith went on tour together?
I do. I saw the show. I was at that gig.
Shoreline. They were down Shoreline, and Tolbert asked me to go with him. So he and I went to the show together.
And by the way, let me just interject real quick. I love that Tolbert's part of the Kiss Army.
Dude.
No, he's not kidding. Tolbert means it. He's in
no
for
question.
Keeps.
He is deep. He dives deep. He'll go deep. Kiss and Aerosmith too, man.
I've been in the Kiss Army. I've been in the Kiss Army since I was a kid. It's a lifetime commitment over here. Yeah.
Will you be buried in a Kiss coffin? Is the question, Paul?
It's a great question, and I'll consider it. I'll definitely consider it. Although the problem is they're very expensive. Go to Kiss online and buy the Kiss coffin at $20,000. It's like a $20,000.
I know
but
absurd.
Yes, if you can come up with one for me, if I drop dead today, get me the Kiss casket. We'll have a Kiss. We'll listen to like Kiss Alive at my funeral.
Also, side note, get Paul Stanley to sing a national anthem for the love of God, please.
Dude.
Come on.
By the way, Paul Stanley speaking of Paul Stanley, he goes to a lot of Laker games. That's
that's what I was gonna say. He's down in LA. If the games come back, if they make it back to LA, if the Rams go on a run and all of a sudden they're hosting the NFC Championship, I want Paul Stanley doing the anthem.
Hey, sorry, you were telling me a story about Tolbert at the Kiss show. What happened?
Just real quickly. So then Tolbert and I go to the show, and he goes, "Hey, we got to meet some people backstage." I go, "Okay." And this is 21 years ago, 22 years ago. So I'm like, "Okay, I'm just wherever you want to go, Tom. I'm fine." And we go back, and it's Tony. Where we had to meet up with Tony La Russa and his wife.
Oh, nice. Hey, man, it's Tony La Russa. Yeah.
His wife is decked out in Aerosmith gear.
She's
And
hardcore. Tony's wife is a serious rock and roll fan.
yes, and Tony
She's
was like
serious.
super chill and like, oh, I'm just here because my wife just loves Aerosmith, and Nick, I'm like, because I saw her in the shirt, and I'm like, oh, did she just buy that shirt?
No,
Like,
no,
yeah.
she's legit.
And then Tony, like, and Tom knew it too, that she goes deep Aerosmith. So, I mean, it was the opposite, where I had the first reaction that you had to Aisha, but then Tony backed it up, and then the show was amazing.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of,
hey, can I tell you my quick Tony La Russa story really quick before we get to the top? Because it's pretty funny. So Tony La Russa, Hall of Fame manager, right? We know the resume: White Sox, Oakland A's, the St. Louis Cardinals. He's one of the great skippers of all time, and you know about him in the Bay, and we love him. So now I had no connection to Tony La Russa, like none. And one day, this is a true story, probably about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm home one day. It's a work day, and I'm taking my afternoon nap because when you do that morning schedule, it beats you down so much. You do. You really do. And you've done it. You know how it is. So you take these naps that are almost like mini comas, and then you wake up because your body thinks you're sleeping again for the night, but you can't do that. You can only sleep a little bit, and you got to wake up and have dinner and watch a Giant game and all that. So I wake up. I'm all groggy. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of almost like you're hungover when you wake up from those afternoon naps on that morning schedule. So I'm all out of sorts. Right. And I go into the living room where we had a house phone. Like, it wasn't a cell, it was a landline. And there was a number that was not used very often by anybody. And I got a message, the lights blinking. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Because like nobody ever calls that number. Nobody even has that number. I don't even think you have that number. So I go in there. I'm like, wow, that's weird. There's a message on the machine. And I press play. And this is what I get. Hey, Paulie Mack, it's Hall of Fame manager Tony La Russa. How you doing, baby? And I was like, whoa. And I was like, he didn't say Hall of Fame manager. He didn't say baby. But as you know, it's like the vibe. And he was like, yeah, listen, I got an event coming up for off. It's a musical environment, and I got Bobby Weir. I got Bruce Hornsby coming in. I know you're a big deadhead. I want to get you out to the gig, Paulie Mack. Call me back. It's Tony La Russa at 510. And then he left me his number, and I was like, what? Is that Tony La Russa's on my friggin' answer machine? That's insane. So anyway, I called Tony, and I had never met him before. I had never spoken with him, even on the air. No interviews, nothing. Yeah. And I call him. I'm like, Tony La Russa? Yeah, it's Paulie Mack. How you doing? And he goes, oh, hey, Paulie Mack. Hey, listen, man. I know you're a big Grateful Dead fan. We got Bobby Weir coming in. I got Bruce Hornsby. We're doing this big benefit. And he goes, I want you to come out and MC and have a good time and watch the show. And I met Tony's wife at that gig, and that's how I know she's a serious rock and roll fan. And Tony La Russa and I have been like boys ever since. Like, that's rad. In fact, we might want to try to get Tony on the show. Sure. During the off season. Yeah. You nailed his cadence. That's exactly how he talks. Oh, he's the best, dude. He's the best. Like, when you're hanging out with Tony, just talking music and stuff, like, I think he's at his very best when he's not talking about baseball, because he's totally relaxed. Well, you know me, I like REO Speedwagon. I like the early stuff. I like Riding the Storm Out. I like the beginning. I like Fog Hat. You know, I like some Blue Oyster Cult. Like, he's like that, man. He's just so cool. But his wife is into like Motley and Rat and like Guns N' Roses. Like, so is Tolbert's wife. Tolbert's wife, same thing. She's into all that too. Big 80s fan. Tolbert's like a big 80s fan. Yeah. Deep into all that stuff. By the way, I need we're going to find a sounder for like alerts on the show. Just got a text back from Rod, confirmed 11 a.m. tomorrow. We're going live with Rod Brooks. He's our guest tomorrow at 11 a.m. So join us back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. for Paulie, myself, and Brooksy. That's going to be a lot of fun. And we have other new features that we'll kind of be revealing as this week unfolds. Now, Creative Tony, we're still very light on production. We haven't done any real production. We haven't done any song parodies yet. All that stuff is coming. No, I'm dead serious. Yeah. And just try to be patient with us as we get this thing up on its feet, because we still have gear that we need to put in place. Like, we have to the ultimate goal is to equip Tony and myself with soundboards. Yes. So we can just have like tennis match volleys back and forth of sound, and we'll do that. And the song parodies are coming too. Tony and I have been actively talking about that. What did you have real quick, T? Oh, I was just gonna say, once we get sponsorship and stuff too, then we can, really dive into that stuff. Yeah. But I can't speak highly enough about our viewers and the comments they're making. No, these guys are money, dude. I know. I mean, so I got it here. Let me throw Naomi up here. She hates the Rams. I will go to my grave hating the Rams, right? I get it. Yeah. And then I got to throw up this is a really strong point by Michael Diaz. If the Rams win the Super Bowl, that would be 2 for McVay and 0 for Kyle. I can't tell you how much I hate that. I'm not a big, I hate that so much. I mean, I hate the fact that Kyle's been to 2 and lost both of them. I hate the fact that as a parent of 2 college-age kids now, their entire life, my boys were born in 02 and 04.
Yeah.
So these poor bastards have grown up their whole lives, and they've only seen because they've only seen playoff misery. Like, they don't know how good it can be.
Yeah.
Like, when we grew up, dude, the Niners go to a Super Bowl, they're winning the Super Bowl. They're not
Correct.
going there to lose. Now they got 2 Super Bowl losses. They got multiple NFC title loss games. I mean, so it's just kind of weird. They have a totally different reality as Niner fans than we do because they've never enjoyed the success. And like you said, the fact that McVay has 2, it bums me out. He's like a little elf running around. Yeah, we're going to play some football tonight. My guy's playing hard, damn it. He's got the spikes. I'm not a big fan.
Remember when he ran into the end zone and was like high-fiving guys?
You know, he's got his little arms and his little kind of, his body is, guys are playing hard tonight. We're going to play hard.
And he's got the bug eyes, like the beady eyes.
It's always so positive. No, I love these guys. Our guys are great. Yeah.
I get guys love playing for him though, so he's doing something, and he is part of the Niner McVay tree. So you gotta always remember that too.
I know. I still got to break his balls a little though because of that voice. He's got that like elf voice. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Naomi is correct. They're SoCal, and I'm not a Rams fan. I loathe the Dodgers, and especially what they're doing now with all the deferring the money and.
Blank them. No, don't even get.
Don't get me. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, let's enjoy the off season. Let's enjoy being Dodger free for a little while. We got.
Can I give love to Dub City real quick? For enough money, Gene Simmons will break out of.
Dude, for a special personalized fee, I will come to your house and dig the grave myself with Peter, Chris, and Ace Frehley from Kiss.
Yeah, kissonline.com. Gene's always looking for a buck. Wouldn't surprise me. And you know what? It'd be an honor. I got to be honest. If Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons want to dig my grave and then lower me in a kiss casket, it'd be my honor. I mean, it really would.
Totally. By the way, can I give some love to Jaden Daniels and the Commanders on that effort yesterday, last night?
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, that kid. Rookie of the year, yeah. I mean,
that's a great question. It's very likely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, what and like he seemed so cool and calm in those really stressful moments. And I'm like, look at this kid. He's like joking around with the D lineman during
I saw that like in the fourth quarter. Yeah.
I was like, this guy he's mature beyond his years.
I wish I had that kind of
badass Terry McLaurin, man. I mean, McLaurin is somebody that I don't know. I'm rooting for big time because of how he plays the game. And I don't know if they'll advance past next weekend, but I love that they went into Tampa Bay and won that game. They were 3-point dogs. That was one of my hot and sour picks. I picked the Commanders +3, and I thought when it was 20-20, I'm like, oh man, a field goal is going to win this game.
Well, it's going to be tough. They have a tough assignment. They got to go into Detroit, and
and then the doink, dude. How about the doink in?
Unbelievable.
Right? I mean, by the way, something weird, Paulie. Were you watching the game right before the kick?
Yeah.
Were you watching the kicker, Zane Gonzalez? Like, he kept parting his hair. He had the helmet off, and he was walking. And I'm like, and he put his helmet on, take it off, helmet on, take it off, and he kept. And my son and my daughter were both like, what is he doing?
Well, listen, before we get in trouble, because I don't want to get canceled out here by some angry group of people, like we say the wrong thing at the wrong time. But you know what I think it might be? That kind of, I shouldn't say this. It's totally
It's
totally reckless to talk this way. But I'm just talking over here. I mean, I'm just talking. But I'm saying, Tony, those are traits that are kind of consistent with OCD.
Oh, okay.
Kind of
that makes more sense.
Yeah, like there are and I know, you know how I know about OCD? I swear to God, I learned about this from Joey Ramone, because Joey Ramone, the singer of the Ramones, rest in peace, he had OCD, and he used to drive those guys crazy because like he would walk out of his hotel and then he would be like, oh, I got to go back in and step on every step. I think I missed a stair. And then they couldn't get the truck to go to the gig because Joey had to walk up and down the stairs 10 times. So sometimes when you see people with repetitive actions like that, it can be OCD. And God bless the OCD community. Now I feel like I'm going to get in trouble.
No, dude.
I'm just talking.
You said it as well as you could. I mean, I didn't even think about that. I was thinking personally, oh, this guy knows that he only gets so little camera time throughout the season, so I'm gonna walk on the field without my helmet on, and get some good camera time before I make this kick and advance to the next round. That's
Hey,
what I was thinking.
nothing wrong with primping yourself up if you're doing a national shot. You know what I mean? You want to look your very best. Creative Tony, 2 quick comments, and then we got to get to Creative Tony's top 3 to wrap the show up.
Sure.
I did want to shout out a comment from Tribe, who's over here on the comments line. Tribe says, guys, Jimmy G's gone farther in the playoffs than Noodle Arm Brock Purdy. This is what happens. You talked about being depressed because the Niners are in the postseason. I noticed that Niner fans start to turn on each other. It happened on Kruger's show the other night. Some guys were yelling about Nick Bosa and how he had a disappointing season. And I'll put the question to you that I saw on Larry's show the other night. Right now, if you had both players at full strength, no legal problems, and I offered you for a complete season of great health and great production, if I offered you Nick Bosa or Aldon Smith, who you taking, Tony? Go.
Oh, God. What? I didn't see that coming.
Well, this is the kind of rough talk we got out here on Polymax Particles. Nobody said it's going to be easy. Nobody
I think I gotta go Aldon Smith.
Aldon Smith had better numbers than Nick Bosa. I'm just talking. I'm just telling you.
And I feel like,
and I'll be honest, I was disappointed with Bosa's year. I was disappointed.
Yeah,
like,
he had a down year.
It wasn't. Even Baldinger kind of smacked him around a little. He said he was good, but he wasn't great. And the other thing is that this whole like Jimmy went farther than Brock Purdy. That's like starting to become a thing. Do you have any response to that? People that are now saying we were better off with Garoppolo than Purdy because
no, I can't. No, I mean, again, just if you can get Purdy some protection, I really want the Niners to focus on the O-line this offseason and get Purdy some better protection. Pooney is a stud. I hope Trent Williams sticks around for another year.
Me too. I think he will. I think he's going to.
But other than that, they really got to look at the O-line and really spend what they have to protect Purdy. I got to give some love. Who was that said that? Yeah, look at G-Man Music. He said Jaden's cool, but I want a Brock. And that's a little D. Snyder Twisted Sister for one of our songs that we did. I want a Brock.
You know who's a big fan of that track, by the way? Not joking, John Lynch.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Lynch.
That's right.
We actually cut a second version with John Lynch singing the chorus with us because he was singing it on the air with us one day. I love John Lynch.
John's a fan of this guy? Oh,
Can I get me out of the way so I can see Snyder? I see his eyes. Look at the mascara, dude. Look at that. Wait, the other way, T.
Oh, I know. I can't do it.
But it's okay. Maybe that's for the best. I see him back there.
I know, it's fine. A little D. Snyder for you.
You got to hope that when your daughter is old enough to start dating dudes, she doesn't bring a guy to the house like D. Snyder. It'd be like, Dad, this is the guy taking me to the prom. What would you do if you open the door and your daughter goes, Dad, this is my prom date, and a D. Snyder lookalike is standing there?
Ooh,
how do you handle that?
I would have to say, let's go out for a walk. And let's talk about like what's in your record collection or what's on your on your Apple Music, what's on your Spotify, what are you listening to? Let's talk.
Right. Okay.
Let's find some common ground.
Yeah.
I said because I appreciate the getup. I mean, Snyder doing that.
Oh, it takes time and effort and energy. Yeah.
All those guys in the 80s that went the extra mile to wear the leather and the makeup and the hair and the
Tony.
I applaud it, man, because
if I could, can I shout out JJ French for a second here?
Of course,
shout out JJ French on guitar. Yes. All right, with Twisted Sister. Creative Tony, do this, man. Give me the open for Tony's top 3, and then let's get into it.
Stand by, Paulie, just for 1 second. I mean, if you can just do this for me. Well, no, just I got just because in case people are wondering,
all right,
like what we're talking about here, I just want people to know. When you say, can I get a little JJ French, right? Can I get a little JJ French? Well, let me give you and everybody a little JJ French, okay? So there you go. There's some JJ French for you.
Nice.
Yeah? See?
Nice.
I mean, I don't know. Twisted Sister for me. I'll never forget real quick before we get into Tony's top 3 and a little more wildcard weekend. My sister... Christmas morning, we traded records for Christmas. We said we're going to get each other music for Christmas, and this is way back when we were kids. And I got her the Madonna "Like a Virgin" record.
I got that album too. It's a good album.
A great album, but my parents were mortified because they're like, "You're getting your 14-year-old sister an album by a woman named Madonna."
I know, who was like telling all these girls to be sluts back then. She was basically like embracing sluttiness, and she really was. She was rolling around on the stage at the MTV Awards in a wedding dress, like getting naughty. Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, the "Like a Virgin" video is pretty risque, and
I gotta tell you, I was interested as a 14-year-old. I'm like, I'm paying attention to this lady. I'll tell you that much.
100%, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then my sister, I unwrap the record from my sister, and it's Twisted Sister's "Stay Hungry" on vinyl.
It's a great album right there.
And that's the album cover with D. Snyder holding the bone.
Yeah. He's
It's
holding the
like
bone.
all the meat's gone from the bone. And
Of course.
my parents, to this day, my parents will say that was one of the worst Christmas mornings because they were mortified by the gift.
Traumatized the whole family. Well, listen, nobody said it's easy to be a parent of Creative Tony or Paulie Mac for that matter. I put my parents through the ringer too. Believe me, the both of them. I mean, good Lord. Yeah.
One thing, I know we're all over the place, Paulie, but this is kind of how the show is right now because we're just like
from the hip. Whatever comes up, comes up. I don't know. Yeah.
Right. So much to talk about. But the one thing that is the constant for all the teams that won over the weekend is they all ran the ball like crazy.
That's what it's about. Yeah.
And I love to see that. And it gives me hope for the Niners in the future because of Kyle's running mind and that he loves the run game also. And Shanahan's always said, if we can run the ball 30 times, we have a really good chance to win the football game.
I agree.
Listen to this. Baltimore, between Lamar and Derrick Henry and I think Justice Hill, ran the ball 50 times. Houston ran the ball 34 times. Bills ran the ball 44 times. Philly ran the ball 34 times. Washington ran the ball 33 times. I mean, that's a recipe for success, man. And I feel like those teams, I mean, all of those teams, especially the Bills and Baltimore and Philly, I mean, they have the dual threats with Josh Allen and James Cook. And then they have Lamar and Derrick Henry, and then Saquon and Jalen Hurts. I mean, all three of those. And then you go to Detroit. Now, what's his name? Jared Goff's not a running quarterback, but man, Jahmyr Gibbs is playing out of his ass. So it's
he is. He is.
That's what I'm saying. These playoffs are going to be very, very exciting, man. I'm really excited, even though I have to put my Niner gear away until whatever.
Yeah, well, we'll kind of pine over that. We'll mourn the Niners. We got all winter to do that. But Creative Tony, we're now getting into our first ever situation where we're going to call bonus minutes. No, that's what we used to do on the podcast. Like we used to do a podcast for like 45 minutes, and anytime we would exceed that, which would be often because we can't help ourselves, it's happening today. D. Snyder and JJ French come up. Next thing you know, boom, there's another 10 minutes. But we do want to give you Tony's top three. So Creative Tony, as we venture into bonus minutes on the first. For the first time on Paulie Mac's Particles, let's get the official opener. And Murph was saying we should hit it 3 times. He might be right, one for each topic today. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Murph thinks we should hit it 3 times.
Yeah, one for each of your Tony's top 3. Ladies and gentlemen, behold, Tony's top 3. Tony's top 3. Give me another one. Tony's top 3.
There you go.
It's making me laugh, so I'm going to go ahead and support it.
Oh man,
the arcade sound, but I like it. Reminds me of like Pac-Man or Star Wars or Space Invader, something like that.
Totally.
But Creative Tony, and I think we should also probably think about putting some kind of drum beat under this or some kind of music.
Yeah.
No, some kind of pulse. Oh, see. Oh, now this is getting me into a different kind of mindset altogether. Now I'm thinking about lotions and candles. You know what I mean? You're getting me. Yeah. I do. It's very kind of groovy. Like, where's my?
Yeah, it's sultry.
I don't know. Where are my silk sheets? Where's the silk underwear?
We already talked about sheets. We're not doing sheets, but
no more sheets. All right, Creative Tony, top 3 for this Monday morning. What you got for me, kid? Go.
Well, hey man, according to Adam Schefter, Mike McCarthy.
I think you and I are going to start making out in a second here. For the first time ever on Paulie Mac's podcast, we're going to attempt a live makeout because this music is getting me in the mood. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah.
By the way, this music bed at the library that they provide, this music bed is called Feeding the Ducks.
Listen,
I got nothing.
I don't even want to go down that road. I really don't. Let's leave the Ducks out of this. Yeah.
All right. Adam Schefter said Mike McCarthy is out in Dallas.
Yeah.
He's out.
No surprise.
Okay. By the way, Dallas is just a train wreck, and I love every second of it.
Yeah.
And I know our guest tomorrow at 11 a.m., Rod Brooks, loves every second of it.
He's from Houston. He's a Houston guy. Yeah.
Yes. And follow Rod on Twitter, man. He is a thoroughly entertaining Twitter.
By the way, Mark Crawford checking in on the comment line simply with a quack. celebrate the duck theme we have going here. And speaking of, you mentioned the Cowboys and McCarthy, and what's your question about that situation?
My question is will this make them better or does this make them worse?
Okay.
And will it change the culture there?
That's a great question. I think I actually have an answer, and look for Rags to comment in 3, 2, 1 because he's a big Cowboy fan. First of all, and also Rags jumped in also with a question, which is why is Trey Lance even on their roster? I don't know. Like, I mean, I was surprised he didn't get some time this year when Dak Prescott went down, but it probably speaks to his development or lack thereof. Now, going back to your question about will it change the culture? I really think it comes down to two things. I think first off, obviously, you need the right guy down there. I thought Bill Belichick would have made a lot of sense for the Dallas Cowboys, but obviously that's not going to happen now. He's got that gig in North Carolina. But to me, that's the kind of guy that you need. You need a culture-changing coach. And probably more importantly than that, Tony, in my opinion, it's all about whether or not Jerry Jones can take a step back and let the coach do his job. Like his involvement or over-involvement, I think has hurt them for a really, really long time. So unless he can remove himself to a greater degree, I think it's probably going to continue. I think they're probably going to continue to struggle, even if they have. Wait,
that guy?
I wasn't ready. That poor. Speaking of poor bastards, look at him. Get him out of here. I feel bad. No, I'm going to look like that in 10 years, for Christ's sake. So don't pick on his look. I'm right behind him.
I just wanted to show people who we were talking about. That's all, Paul.
I do think, though, that's what it would take. It takes the right coach, obviously, and it takes Jones to take a step back, but I don't know that he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I feel like agreed, man. Who wants that? I mean, I guess it is America's team, but I don't know who like really is like wanting to work for Jerry. I don't know.
No, that's the problem. See, that's the problem. He's got to that's why Bill Parcells and Robert Kraft, it didn't work. And they had to go get Bill Belichick because Kraft was too much in Parcells' business and Parcells didn't like that. And that thing blew up. I think Jones has to take a deep breath and step back, but I don't expect he will.
And that's what you guys have got to give Jed York a ton of credit, how he has literally taken a back seat. He used to be way more involved.
Yeah.
And now he's read the room and said, all right, I'm going to back off and I'm going to hire people to do their thing. And that's why I'm paying them the big bucks, right?
Creative Tony, bonus minutes continuing now on Polymax Particles as we get into topic number 2 on Tony's top 3.
Number 2. Now that you've seen the wild card weekend, except for tonight, right? You still have one game tonight, right?
Yeah.
Who and knowing what you know about the Lions and Kansas City and the matchups now, who the Lions and the Chiefs are both hosting, right?
Yeah.
The Lions are hosting the Commanders and the Chiefs are hosting the Texans.
Correct.
Who do you think will be, as Tim Ryan would say, who's going to party with the Lombardi, bro?
Yeah. What, out of Detroit and Kansas City, or all 4 of the teams?
Out of all the teams that you, after seeing those games this weekend.
Okay. I have an answer, and I got to start by shouting out my kid James. Okay, my son James is a big football fan. Here's what he says to me yesterday. Okay, and I'm going to do the voice. I mean, it's not really how he talks, but I always like put on this effect when I talk about James. I was going, hey James, I like Buffalo today. Blah 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 blah, and he's like, the Chiefs are going to three-peat, Dad. And
no!
Now I can say this too, is that James he's an anti-Mahomes guy too. He is not a Chiefs fan. He stands with Tony and myself as being maybe the only 3 anti-Mahomes guys on the entire planet at this point. But he is convinced, my son is convinced that the NFL and the referees are going to ensure that Mahomes gets his 3-peat so they can point to him and say, this is the best quarterback the game has ever seen. We should all be watching right now. Everybody tune in. So my son is convinced the Chiefs are going to 3-peat because that's what the league wants. But I think Detroit is not going to be denied. They remind me of the 81 Niners, and they are just crashing the party, man. I don't know that Kansas City has enough. I'm just being totally honest. I don't know if they have enough to dismantle the Lions. But we're a long way from that. I'm kind of putting both of those teams in the Super Bowl now, and I probably shouldn't, because like you said earlier, dude, the Texans might give Kansas City a game, and the Commanders, I could see the Commanders giving the Lions a hard time. Totally. I think the Lions are going to win that game most likely, but I could see Washington putting up a pretty good fight.
Okay, cool. So, but do you think if you had to pick a winner, you think Lions are partying with the Lombardi, bro?
I do. If you're putting me on the spot today, yes, I'll take the Lions.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I mean, that's just what's so exciting about these playoffs, man. I can't say it enough, man. And by the way, do me as Klompus says in Seinfeld, do me a personal favor.
Do me a personal favor. Take the pen.
Take the pen.
Take the pen.
Do everybody viewing, first of all, thank you for viewing and checking us out. And just a little business here. The audio version of this is available on wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify, iHeart. Just search Polymax Particles.
Yeah.
But I'm saying to all of you, do me a personal favor when you watch the Chiefs game this weekend. Watch number 74.
Okay.
He false starts on almost every single play.
He's on the right side of the line, right?
Yes.
He's on the right. Yeah, no, I've seen him. He's jumping all around. Yeah, no, he's kicking his legs. He's moving his arm.
On his name. Yes, he false starts on every play.
Do you want to go ahead? Go ahead.
Watch how often the Chiefs line holds.
Oh, dude, they don't even try to disguise it. They're putting guys in headlocks, dude.
That's all I'm going to say.
No, it's atrocious. The NFL should be embarrassed how blatant it's gotten at this point.
It is.
And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, you can't criticize the officials and you can't play." Listen, what's gone on with the Chiefs has been it's embarrassing. It really is. The amount of favoritism they're getting, and my biggest kind of complaint about that is simply the fact Patrick Mahomes has never been legitimately hit throughout 4 quarters of a football game. Like Montana used to get his ass handed to him every Sunday, knocked down after you let go of the ball all day long, and Joe would get up and find a way to beat you. Mahomes has never had to do that. Creator Tony, we're deep into bonus minutes now.
I know, but if I could do some forward promotion, I am very excited for next Monday's show when we're recapping how incensed we are about the Chiefs.
I will. I'm going to come with explosives and medications and all kinds of stuff for the audience. So yeah. I'm with you on that, buddy. But
I'm trying to find real quick. I'm trying to find that guy's name real quick, Paulie, because I want people to see him and know him. That's what it is. Jawan Taylor.
Yeah, Jawan Taylor. There you go. Nice.
74. Keep your eyes on him, okay?
We'll talk about that on Friday, too. We'll remind everybody.
Number 3 for Tony's top 3.
Yep.
And number 3 is always kind of not sports related. It's more of life related. Things that just happen to pop up in our universe.
Tony, things that make you go, shout out CNC Music Factory. It's not a bad track. You ready for this? You ready for me to blow your doors off and this kind of thing I'm going to give you on the show?
Go.
Ready for this, Tony? Yeah. CNC Music Factory?
Yes.
I've seen them. I saw them live. Yes.
Do you know what CNC stands for?
I have no clue. None.
And where did you see them?
Things that make you go, I saw them in Boston when I had my first ever radio job after I graduated college.
Yeah.
I worked in the promotions department for an FM pop station. Shout out Kiss 108, Kiss FM. And they're still going. They're still a powerhouse station in Boston to this day. But anyway, I went to a lot of kind of pop concerts with the station, and that was one of them. I saw I actually talked to the woman in the band. She was lovely. She was she was tiny too. She was a tiny little thing. But you remember there was a dude and there was a woman, and the woman was the girl in the chorus going, things that make you go,
Yes.
She was very quiet, but I remember having a really nice conversation with her at that gig. All right, Tony, anyway, what's your personal, where are we going in our personal lives today?
As we progress into the final portion of the show, number 3, I just want to say that CNC Music Factory is an American musical group formed in 89 by David Cole and Robert Civiles. So I think CNC stands for their last names.
Fair enough. I'll buy that.
All right, fair enough. Moving on. Okay. This whole weekend, I was brought up to my attention multiple times. I offer people like a beer or a drink, and no, I'm dry January. I'm doing dry January.
You got a lot of dry January,
with all respect, okay.
Yeah.
I've tried to do the dry thing.
Yeah,
and I've never made it. I've never made it the full month.
Yeah,
I want to know. Have you ever tried dry January? And what are your thoughts about dry January?
My thoughts personally, I
Yes.
counter that with my own idea, which I like to call wet January, where I don't even consider refraining. In fact, I'll tell you the honest to God truth. I had a couple of glasses of Pinot Noir last night. You're damn right. I was having a couple of wines while I was watching the Bucks get it on with the Commanders last night. So no, I don't participate in dry January. I also don't care if anybody else wants to. If you want to go dry all month, go nuts, knock yourselves out. But it's kind of a tough month to do that with all the NFL playoff games going on. You got NBA basketball. You got the college national championship.
Yes.
I mean, these are events where you kind of want to have a cold beer and a bowl of pretzels in front of you, unless that makes me the bad guy all of a sudden. I don't know. But no, I'm going to go ahead and go foot to the floor, wet January. This conversation alone is inspiring me to have more wine tonight during the Rams game. So I'm not going to refrain. I'm going to go the opposite direction. But if you want to be dry all month, I'll support you. Go ahead and do
Nice.
that.
And by the way, Mark Crawford, nice work. Juicy January, Mark. Juicy January. I love it. Nice work. I got to give love to my friends Gary and Stephanie here in San Carlos. They came up with damp January.
Somewhat moist. Yeah, we're a little damp. Yeah.
So it's not wet. It's not dry. It's damp.
Yeah,
So they dabble.
We're going to call it moderately moist January, which means I have to have half a glass of wine a day. Yeah.
I mean, dude, I live in San Carlos, right down here on the peninsula, and there are many good breweries right walking distance from my house. It's impossible for me to stay dry for a full month. It's impossible.
What's the name of that joint you just took me to a couple of weeks ago? We had the big pastrami sandwiches at the what's the name of that place? We had lunch with your buddy Pete.
Was that Drake's?
Yes.
No. We went to Drake's before. No, that was Refuge.
That's it. Thank you. Shout out Refuge, because that's the kind of place you want to go. You have your pastrami sandwich and you want to have a cold beer with that. And they got all those beer selections on the wall. The more we're talking about this, the more I'm ready to open a beer right now. This conversation is having like the reverse effect on me. If it's supposed to get me to wean off, it's making me want to go have a cold one right now. It's doing the exact opposite, Tony.
And look at this, again, to the commenters, senior softball games. Look at this, Paulie. Shouldn't it be February because it's the shortest month of the year? Absolutely. And I think it's the month where the least is happening in February.
No, it's the slowest month of the year. There's no question about that. Yep.
So maybe you're onto something, senior softball games. By the way, great title, man. I'm all about senior softball games. Quick side note before we wrap here, Paulie.
Yes.
I play on this softball team. I just call it old guy softball. And our team name is the Dad Bombs. I want to give love to John Lee, who put that team together. John was the manager and did these great post-game write-ups. Anyways, we were playing a game in this fall, and the umpire, who's probably, he's got to be low 75. Home plate umpire, which I just love. I love these gamers that come out and they just want to call balls and strikes for old guy softball. God bless them.
Okay.
This guy approaches me and asks me if I want to play in his league.
How old do you think you are? How old is
I don't know. But I was like, man, this is amazing. I just got recruited to play on a senior softball team. And I said, you know what?
Hey, welcome to old age.
I'm really interested, man. Let's talk. And so
you should sign up. You should sign up because you'll probably be like the Babe Ruth of that league, by the way, because you're 20 years younger than those guys. But I love the fact that the guy sees you as somebody who might be in their 70s. That's awesome. And final comment, and by the way, you should, because you clean up. And Tony can hit, by the way. Don't think Creative Tony can't bring the lumber. I saw, last thing, I just got to prop up Tony for a second, because I saw this with my own eyes. I saw this happen. We used to have the Murph and Mac batting practice, take a cut challenge out at Oracle Park. We would do it once a year before a Giants game, usually a day game during the week. And I would pick 9 guys. Murph would pick 9 guys, and we would take batting practice and compete. And one year, and after I'd done it a few years, I'm like, you know what, dude? I'm taking myself out of the lineup, and I want to get somebody else in the lineup. Because what am I going to do? I'm going to dribble a few grounders. We've seen that before. I don't need to. I don't need to see that again. So I go. And Tony played ball. Creative Tony played some college ball, so he can definitely play. And I go, Tony, I need you on my line, on my team, man. Grab a bat, grab a helmet. And he's like, I don't have a helmet, but I got this. And he puts on his skateboard helmet. It was incredible. The look. You looked nuts, and you walked up there with a skateboard helmet, and he gets in the box, and he's hitting lefty. without like even so much as a touching of his toes, he gets in the box. And Creative Tony, you took a ball to the warning track. I was very impressed. You almost
back in the day.
You almost left the yard. So Tony can ball. And Creative Tony, I like your top 3 today. I'm going the opposite way on dry January. I'm going to keep mine quite wet. And
cool.
Final comment. I saw Naomi. I'm not sure how this came up on the comment line. I'm starting to get the impression that they have like their own conversations going on. Yeah, like I see like Rags is talking to Naomi. There's all like these side things are going on. And then but Naomi was talking about the soundtrack of the 80s film called Valley Girl, which is a great movie with Nicolas Cage. And I'm gonna back that because I actually have that soundtrack on vinyl. There's a killer band on there called the Plim Souls. They had a song called A Million Miles Away and Eyes of a Stranger. You've got the eyes of a stranger. Great tracks. Anyway, great soundtrack. Naomi, I'm with you on that one, and it sounds phenomenal on vinyl. Creative Tony, I guess it's time you take us home, and I love the new sound bed for Tony's top 3. I feel half romantic and half like a sports analyst. It's a great combination. So
well, it's keeping me at ease. It's keeping me at ease, which is that's my mantra for these NFL playoffs. Because normally I wouldn't be sleeping at night, worried about the Niners upcoming playoff game.
I know.
You think I'm kidding, everybody? Paulie and I, there's been times where we've called each other at like 2 a.m. because we can't sleep because of before the NFC Championship game, or at like 7 a.m. the day of the game. Can't sleep. Figure it out. Talk to me. Tell me. Give me something good. Give me some good vibes. You know.
Final comment to the show today is another true story. Everything I'm not kidding when I say this stuff. These are the things that really happen. No, it's not that big a deal. But the night before the '94 NFC Championship, after the Niners had lost in '92 and '93 to Dallas, and they were getting ready to play them again for the 3rd time in '94, my girlfriend at the time, I'll never forget this. The night before that game, I was staying at her place, and I couldn't sleep, like you were saying. I literally got up at about 3 a.m. and left. I'm like, I'm going home. I'm leaving. And I just drove, and I did. And I never fell asleep. I was up the entire night. I was so wound up. That game, there was more tension around that game maybe than any Niner game ever. And I know that's a big statement, but it might be true. So I wound up going out, and I got donuts. I got coffee. I was up because I watched all the stores open. That's how anxious I was before that game. All right, Creative Tony, had a great time today on Polymax Particles. We'll see you back here tomorrow. We're going at 11 tomorrow, Tony?
Yeah, I was going to say. So just some more housekeeping. Rod Brooks, we call him Brooksy. He's joining us tomorrow at 11 a.m. Same place. Find us on YouTube at just search Polymax Particles. Also, we go live on Twitter every day, Polymax Particles. We will post the show in its entirety. We will also post shorter segments. Spread the word. Give us a subscription on YouTube, and then also we do the audio versions as well, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you stream your podcasts. It's most likely Apple or Spotify are the 2 biggies, and iHeart as well. Just search Polymax Particles as well. And if you have any questions, like you can't find something, just drop me a comment on Twitter at Creative Tony R, or drop Paulie a comment at Paulie's Pod, and we will get back to you. And we want, like we said, we're building this from the ground floor, and we want to build this into just a fun place to be.
Yep, no question, Tony. Thanks for all your work today. I can say namaste to all of y'all. Have an enjoyable afternoon. Namaste, Tony. Namaste. And enjoy the game tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. with Rod Brooks on Polymax Particles. Peace, y'all.
See you guys.